All right, it's the game is a game, NBA live stream of consciousness. Thank you for tuning in for this episode. Let's go ahead and get into it. Anthony Davis was hurt last night. I thought it was a serious injury. I thought he tore his Achilles. Came out that he's only going to miss 2 weeks, ankle sprain, up to 2 weeks. They're going to evaluate him after that. I think this was a big game, maybe not because of the score or its result in the standings, but it leads me to two teams going in opposite directions, I would say. For the Lakers, I think they found a little bit of a rhythm. If you've seen and really paid attention to Russell Westbrook's career the last couple of years, he's gotten better towards the end, second half of the season. And he started to figure things out with the Rockets, with the Wizards, even his MVP season in Oklahoma. It was towards the end of the season that he really started to build up. And I see a build up with him now, especially in the half court offense. Him and LeBron have found some simpatico. There's this play that they run where he starts on the left block. He dives hard to the rim. LeBron follows off of him, and it led to a couple of dunks and layups. And they found some just rhythm with him, a place for him to operate in the low post on that left block. And I just think that's what a team needs more than anything. What are players going to do in the last 2 minutes of the game? So with Anthony Davis and LeBron, you can never count them out. It was always Russell Westbrook. And I think that now that the trade deadline has passed, the Lakers have accepted that this is their team. I would expect that they play better. They were more engaged last night defensively. We'll see if they can get a buyout guy. If they can pick up a Gary Harris, that would be huge for them. But I think you have to be encouraged if you're a Lakers fan. If you're a Utah Jazz fan, despite the injury, but if you're a Utah Jazz fan, I don't know. I just think you've come to the end of the road. I think that Clippers series loss was pretty much all she wrote for this team. There's really no playmaking and scoring besides Donovan Mitchell. You have Jordan Clarkson, but that's not the number two guy as far as scoring wise on a championship team. They're really old and slow on the wing. A lot of money paid into Conley and Gobert, who, they're solid players, but I don't think they're going to be playing dividends for you for deep postseason runs, especially if you have to play Phoenix. You have to play a Warriors. Those two players, I think they're going to be at some disadvantages. So, you put that all together, and Utah not being a place where star free agents are going to go, I just think it's a matter of when, not if, Donovan Mitchell asks for a trade. So I think that's definitely something to keep an eye on. If we look at the Lakers, their schedule is pretty favorable coming out of the break. They have Washington, the Pelicans, and the Clippers. So I think it's pretty favorable. So AD has some time to get healthy here. Within the next 3 weeks, almost a month out, the only teams that I think that they're going to be a dog against are the Warriors and the Suns. So I think he has some time. They dodged a bullet, but if you're a Laker fan, I think you need to be encouraged. Another thing that I saw that was interesting was there was a tweet that came out about the top selling jerseys in the NBA. And I don't know if you've seen this. Let me go ahead and put it on the screen. So these are the top selling jerseys in the NBA by state. So you see Steve Smith is in Idaho. Like, I don't understand that. Now, maybe he played for the Blazers, so maybe that's a Pacific Northwest thing. But Steve Smith and Yao Ming in Montana. Steve Nash still in Arizona. They've had D-Book Suns that went to the finals. Steve Nash is still the leading jersey seller in Arizona. Scottie Pippen. Mike Bibby in Alabama. Why? Grant Hill in Michigan. They won a title with the Pistons. You would think it should be Chauncey Billups, Grant Hill. AI in Pennsylvania. Big man jerseys don't really sell like that. So, that makes some sense to me. Vince Carter in West Virginia, Vince Carter in Maine. I guess Maine is closest to Toronto, but explain to me Vince Carter in West Virginia. I don't know. This doesn't. This is a very, very interesting uh, list, and I think one thing that it shows above everything is that the NBA is still a very regional sport. It's just regional. It's never going to get to the heights of the NBA, the NFL. The NBA just doesn't translate over, and I think maybe it's because of college basketball. So, say for example, if you did this list for the NFL, right? And I mentioned Idaho has Steve Smith. Idaho has Boise State. So, and the Idaho football team. So maybe the best player on Boise State, whoever he is in the NFL, the majority of those fans in Idaho are going to be watching whatever team he's on. Same thing for North Dakota. You would have the Carson Wentz that played on the Division 2A team. So I just think because of that farm system and just because of the nature of football, the small amount of games, only being played on 1 week, it being broadcast on, broadcast television, it just has so many advantages. And I just don't see a way that the NBA can catch up. I mean, you look at this list, Scottie Pippen that hasn't played since 2001 is a leading vote getter in the state. Steve Smith is a leading vote getter in the state. Like, I mean, when you have that just looking at you, what can you do? So Pennsylvania, you have AI who hasn't played, and AI is a legend, but Pennsylvania, that's a big state. To have a player that was last dominant 20 years ago, almost 20, 30 years ago, that's crazy. Vince Carter, these things are crazy. So I don't know. We'll see. Mike Bibby in Atlanta, Alabama, that one, someone has to make that make sense to me. The Knicks collapse. So the Knicks gave up a big lead last night. Spike was in attendance, upset. Stephen A went on a rant. And check out my video. I explained to you why the Knicks are struggling, why it's a good thing. I think they're going to get Zion. But just to talk about the Knicks now, if you just look at it from this prism, right? The Knicks are the team that they were supposed to be last year. I said last year's a fluke because of the amount of games that the other teams had to play corresponding to the Knicks, the amount of time that the Knicks had off, 287 days. Miami Heat, for example, only had 73. You put that together, it led to a season being a fluke. If you replace last season with the Knicks this season, I don't think most people will be surprised. People were shocked by their play last year, and last year was a fluke. If you really look at it from the perspective of let's remove last year where they were the top 4 seed, I think that this year makes sense. So I said that to say this. I think Donovan Mitchell will probably be joining Zion in New York. I think it's a good pairing. He's looking for a big stage. The Knicks are just ripe. New York is just ripe for some legacy type stuff because, the Knicks being such a big, huge thing in this NBA, the way that the Garden rocks, you would think that, their greatest player of all time will be one of the top 5 players ever, and it's not. It's their best player is probably Patrick Ewing. You talk about the love that Knicks players get, that book that I mentioned, Blood in the Garden, that team is revered. They never won anything. John Starks is loved in the city, never won anything. So if you're the player that brings a title to New York or multiple titles to New York as a all NBA player, I mean, the love that you can get, the marketing opportunities that you can get, I think are just going to be enormous. So I think that Zion's going to take that risk and sign that qualifying offer. And I think Zion will be there soon. I think it's just a matter of time till a player comes in to play with Zion. And I think Donovan Mitchell will be a perfect fit. It doesn't look like the situation in Utah is going to work. So I think he'll be a perfect fit. So I'm looking out for that. DeMar DeRozan, 35 points, 50% from the field, 7 straight games, breaking Wilt's record. What can I say about DeMar DeRozan? He was a high flyer, a Cali boy, LA boy, coming out of USC, just really, worked on his game. His tremendous skill that he's added to his game. It seems like he's aging like fine wine. I mean, he's just a tremendous player, tremendous offensive player. I think he's going to start getting some MVP looks as we get down to it because they're still first in the East with a whole host of injuries. So if he keeps this up, he's definitely going to get some MVP looks. But Yeah, shout out to him. There was some talk that the Lakers would get him in the offseason, and I was against that because I just didn't see the fit, but he's just a bucket getter. He's improved on defense. He's still not really shooting threes. Only had 1 3 last night, 38 points on highly efficient scoring. He's just a hooper, man. So, shout out to him. All-Star break coming up in Cleveland. Doesn't make any sense. This is, one of the moments where the whole league is off and you're trying to highlight your league. I don't understand why you would send everyone to Cleveland. Just like with the Super Bowl, I think the Super Bowl should be in 4 cities: LA, Las Vegas, New Orleans, and Miami. I think LA and Las Vegas speak for themselves. New Orleans, I hear, is a good place. I really wouldn't want to go to that. But Miami, has always done well. I just think that if you're trying to showcase your league, especially during the winter months, you should be in a place where people want to go. It just doesn't make sense. We're having the Super Bowl, the most watched event of the year, and it's in the Mall of America that they're doing Radio Row. Like, it doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. And you have business owners in the NFL and the NBA who are pretty much crying for socialism. Like, hey, it's not fair. It doesn't make sense. We should share the profits. We should share. If you poll the NBA fans, that's where they want to go. You want to put the league in a position where you're highlighting players in places that people want to go. Me, for example, the Super Bowl is going to be next year in New Orleans. I'm cool. The year after that, it's going to be in Vegas. I'm going to be there. I'm going to plan out that trip early. I'm going to be there. That's going to be fun. You should have it a place where people want to go, the players want to go, not that the players are running to the exit as soon as they get there. It should be turned up. It should be a party weekend. What LA was this Super Bowl, it should be like that every year. Let everybody go out, get some sun. Like right now in the Northeast, they're braving for a winter storm. It's 70 degrees in California right now. 70. Like, come on, like, make it make sense. So, everybody enjoy Cleveland as much as that's possible. Stay safe. All-Star break is good. I like that they, extended it out. While the streets is empty, I'm going to feed the streets with some videos. Expect them to drop no later than Friday. I got 2 of the videos in the same vein in the Celtics and the Knicks videos that everybody likes so much. And I'm dropping some other stuff. So thank you for support. Thank you for tuning in. Game is the game.
So what's up, man? What's up with you otherwise, The game is a game. Always.